Hello everybody, this is your Rob in real time, and I'm glad you came back to the Rob in real time channel. I'm your host, and today we're gonna go over Captain Marvel, and it's a movie that I have procrastinated doing a review. And in fact, in this channel I kind of wanted to make this like a movie review kind of geek topic kind of channel. Let's get into it. Let's do Rob in real time's real review on Captain Marvel. So one of the major problems I have with Captain Marvel in general is that while I think she is way OP with little to no explanation of how her powers exactly work. When you watch the movie, there is an event where she goes through an explosion. Okay, I'm just gonna say explosion, but you don't know how powerful the thing that explodes is, or something, or the radiation, or something. You know, it's just a blast, and now she got powers or something. It's kind of magical almost, and how she gets the powers, and so it doesn't really give you a clear explanation of how she gets her powers, and you don't also know fully the limitations of her power. But she really needs some limitations, because not because women need limitations. I just think I want to know, like, what is her limitation as in her power cap, like who can she beat, and what if she faced this higher tier character can't she beat, you know? So like Captain Marvel needs something tangible, a weakness, a vulnerability, so that way me as just a moviegoer, they're making Captain Marvel someone such an idol. And it, you know, in women have flaws and weaknesses, so that's what I'm saying is, like, give Captain Marvel a flaw that ladies can identify with, and you know something that make us sympathize for Captain Marvel. And one of the big problems, like with Superman, is when you have a character that's too overpowered. It's hard to sympathize for them, because oh, they're okay, that's Superman, he's gonna, like, oh, that, don't worry about Carol Danvers, she'll just shoot her way out, she's always fine, so you're never there's no stakes involved. And that's one of the big problems in this movie, is never did I felt there was any stakes involved. There needs to be stakes in a movie. To make a good superhero movie, you need to know the stakes. You need to know that there's a potential that someone's gonna die, that something's gonna be lost, that there's gonna be a life-changing event, some way that there's gonna be a moment where an epiphany and a revelation where it will change the way this character is gonna act and behave in the future. Something like that. So that's why in Captain Marvel, maybe I was looking for something too deep here, but again, I think she needs just a vulnerability. Even though if it was a small vulnerability, made up vulnerability like Superman's kryptonite, fine, or just a vulnerability, so that way the ladies can, and also just guys can, relate to her. But if you make uber super powerful character, it's kind of like, okay, they're cool, oh, Thanos punched her, she's okay. We didn't have to worry about her. When I saw her get punched in Endgame, I'm like, didn't have to worry about her. She's all right. She'll get up. She's a tough girl. So this movie has a lot of male bashing moments. A few male bashing moments, a lot less than originally had, but there are some male bashing moments that it's kind of hard to ignore. There's a particular popular 90s video rental chain that the movie kind of takes place at in the 90s, when Captain Marvel, the character known as Veers, at that moment travels back to Earth in the 90s, and she lands in this video rental store, sees a cutout of one of the best known action stars, and kind of like a role model to all men, and it's a cutout, and of course she zaps it, and I'm thinking, wow, so you have to take a cheap shot at the most manliest man in cinema. Yeah, I think that was just cheap, and I think that it could have done, they could have done something more clever than that. It just shows their agenda though. Like, it just shows Disney's agenda the whole time. It's just like, men bad, women good, women are the best, women power, women power, more powerful, men stupid. You kind of watch that and you're like, okay, we get it, and that's what they want us to believe, but I'm not gonna accept that. So I think they can do better, and I think they're just lazy, and they just want to show content. They can't think of anything better because they're lazy that can't create content. Women can be shown as powerful individuals without stepping on men to get to the top. You can do that. It's not impossible. You can have men even help them a little bit, but that's the problem. They want to show a powerful woman that just doesn't need any help from any man, and or doesn't want to learn from any man, or doesn't want to accept any mansplaining. See, so again, it has that underlining theme throughout the whole movie. So that's another negative part to what I noticed from the picture when I seen this Captain Marvel movie. So you guys might be wondering, why now? Why a year later am I reviewing Captain Marvel? Well, it's very hard for me to review a movie when I already am coming at it with kind of biased thinking, because the way this movie was promoted and sensationalized by the media, it was hard for me to give it a fair shake, and that's why I kind of wanted to distance myself and from that capsule of hype, and also the antics and the actress Brie Larson, who plays Captain Marvel, with her political agenda driven stuff. It really made me think going in that I'm not gonna watch this movie just so they can beat on me for being a guy, and that's what I was coming from. Now I know that Captain Marvel or like the whole comment with Brie Larson, yeah, so basically you just alienated a whole gender because based on the plumbing, okay, see that right there, it made a lot of people just refuse to go to the theater even you give it a shot, which it did affect me and my review of this movie. But I'm now not so angry at it as time passed on, and now I'm gonna give it a shake. Now that I saw it, now I can tell you what actually went down, and if it's even worth taking a look, this far down the line, just to rent it or stream it or even buy the video if you want to. But I don't know if I'm gonna encourage any sales, but if you're gonna take a look, this is what you're gonna get. You watch the movie. You sit through it and watch the movie, because I sat through and watched this movie. It's 2 hours, and running time's like 2 hours and like 13 minutes or something like that, or maybe 15 minutes. So it's a little long. That's kind of why I'm having a hard time getting behind Captain Marvel here. Another scene that you saw in Infinity War was during the big snap. One of the Easter eggs at the end of the end trailer post-scene credits, Nick Fury turned to dust after the snap from Thanos in Infinity War. So you see the pager and you see Captain Marvel's insignia on the pager. Well, this movie in the post-credits scenes does answer that question in Infinity War, and it ties it into Endgame and the post Easter egg. So you might, as you're watching the credits, still keep watching it because it does have a little tie-in to Endgame, but it's not necessary. It's not crucial. Like you're fine if you don't ever watch Captain Marvel. You're gonna be fine. You don't need this little nugget of information to tie in Infinity War to Infinity Endgame, you know. So you're fine with or without it. There was if you want to know what happened with Nick Fury's character and all that, this kind of Captain Marvel does explain it a little better in the post credits scenes. One of the big points or that count against this movie is like some of the backlash is how they wrote this character Captain Marvel, and they claim that she's a Mary Sue, but at least they do show her training. That is better than what we see with Rey in Star Wars. Captain Marvel, she has some hardships. They do this using some montages throughout the movie. You know, it's a simple way of just going over a lot of backstory real quick, but not all it makes sense in the movie, in the entirety of the movie. Okay, so if you ever wondered what happened to Nick Fury's eye, well, Captain Marvel will explain what happened to Nick Fury's eye. Really, that's how he lost his eye, not something more exciting. Like, nope, it's just something random and stupid. So it really just like, it's like a knock to the Nick Fury character. So that Samuel Jackson plays. But to me, it's like, yeah, but that character, that's not true to the character in the books. Like Nick Fury probably lost his eye in some combat, or you know, something like that, in some kind of form of combat, because it's Nick Fury is part of SHIELD, so it's all they were fighting the Hydra and spies and stuff like that. So by making this character kind of lose their eye in such a domestic way, it kind of takes away the cool factor of Nick Fury. It kind of like just knocks them down a peg. And so I think the brand of Nick Fury kind of went down because of this, how they wrote this scene. Because now I don't think of Nick Fury as this cool, dangerous character. Now I'm like, oh yeah, he lost his eye in that movie in the most dumbest way, and that affected one of the characters that I liked in other Marvel movies. That now I'm just thinking, oh, that character's stupid now. So in one of the ads or the TV spots, they showed Captain Marvel standing in front of a little mini mall strip holding a map. The MCU kind of saw the complaints and the backlash they were getting to this. Captain Marvel is an alien, but again, even though she's an alien, you know, it's still seen as wrong because she's injuring somebody and then she's taking what she wants from the man. So it really leaves a bad impression for little girls. Like, yeah, that's the hero you look up to. So now at least what they did is when you see the movie and how it's actually theatrically released, they removed that big part of that scene, and she still does some naughty stuff, but at least they didn't make her look like an ultra villain, an ultra bully, because remember, she's the hero of the story. It's just this social justice narrative. These people are making these feminists, and they're trying to say that, oh, you know, I'm a victim, I need justice. Well, in the process of you giving not a victim and justice, you are bullying people. So you are looking like a villain yourself in this process. So this does not make you look like a hero. This just makes you look like a jerk, like a biatch. That's why I liked Wonder Woman a lot better than this Captain Marvel movie, because Captain Marvel I didn't see her as much as a lady. It's just, she was kind of so stiff. She played it so stiff. Brie Larson played this character so stiff. And I think it was because she was that alien. And I don't know if she just, this is just a really badly written script, but there's a part in the movie where she was human, and that's her previous life, but then she got mixed and fused with this alien race. I still don't really understand how that kind of came together in the story. So maybe if someone watches it can explain it to me, but I'm still kind of confused on that. It kind of did not make sense to me. I was not sold on the idea. Okay, so when I saw this movie, it did remind me of another movie that was also of a hero, and it was all of the DC brand. And I'd have to compare, if you're gonna go to what kind of superhero movie does Captain Marvel compare to, and I'd have to say you can compare this movie directly alongside to Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern. And pretty much the premise of Green Lantern is in Captain Marvel. Apparently they have a similar storyline. That's another story for another day. We're not talking about Green Lantern, we're talking about Captain Marvel. But powers were just passed on from the alien to the human being. So in the story, you have a scene where it's similar, like in Green Lantern. If you've seen Green Lantern, some of this, it's almost, it's very similar to that. Not 100%, but it's very like that scene. So I think they could have changed that scene up a little more, kind of wrote it different, because that kind of made me go back and think of Green Lantern. And Green Lantern wasn't a good movie to recall, but I saw it, and even Ryan Reynolds makes fun of takes shots at Green Lantern in his movie Deadpool. So it kind of tells you that that's not if you're gonna borrow something, borrow from a movie that actually is a good movie. So as we learn more about Captain Marvel's history, you learn that she's Carol Danvers, kind of like a test pilot for the United States Air Force, which is cool. But again, that rings and sounds like what I mentioned earlier, Green Lantern. So just like Green Lantern, but she has a fellow pilot and a friend who's also a female pilot. I don't even, what's the difference? It could be male or female, doesn't matter. But she has a best friend, and her best girlfriend is Monica Rambeau, who is also in the comics, she becomes Captain Marvel too, also. And she has this little daughter who is really smart. So smart that it almost takes me out of the picture, man, because when I'm watching and I'm just thinking, wow, they wrote this girl a little too smart. When the way she's speaking, she doesn't sound like a regular 9-year-old smart girl. I'm just saying she has to be like a genius level smart. I'll tell you why. In the movie, there's a particular scene where the little girl is interacting with Kree technology, and she already knows how to use Kree technology. It's like, what? How is this kid she gets first time she ever looks at alien tech, and she knows how to use it? Yeah, sure, because that works so well with just a normal human adults. When we find alien tech, it just works. It works immediately like the way we think it's gonna work. No. That's what I'm saying. When they write characters too smart, suddenly knowing too much, that took me out of the picture. The girl did not tinker with it, and she didn't learn anything. She just already knew by chance how to work Kree technology. So yeah, again, I'm like, okay, bull. Because I looked at the tech. I mean, when you're looking at the tech, is that something you can figure out just by looking at it? You're like, yeah, I don't think so. Another Easter egg I want you guys to look for is yeah. So yeah, look for that guy. That's the Easter egg. If you kids don't know who I'm talking about, well, I know I'm dated. I'm an old man, but still, your parents should know. Just another thing I noticed was there was kind of a bad music selection choice. Now, I like that song when it's played on the radio, or you're just driving down the street or something, that's fine. But the way they used the song, because the music took me out of the picture. It's not fault of the musicians who wrote the music. They did a great job. Just can't get that music and put it with any scene. You have to be selective with it, So one of the things I noticed in the movie is when there's the choreography for the fight scenes, you see these characters taking hits and punches. And Captain Marvel, Brie Larson, I see her make kind of like stupid faces when she gets angry, and I'm like, it was kind of like, what? You know, she kind of made this like kind of berserk looking like tongue hanging out look. There's a famous still or picture of it making its rounds around the internet that people use it to kind of show like an ugly Photoshop of Brie Larson. I saw it, I'm like, wow, that is a terrible shot. And I'm like, yeah, that's a Kodak moment right there. So I understand why that shot made its rounds. Okay, so one thing I did like about this movie, a sad thing happening is at the end of 2018, I believe. I know Stan Lee passed away, but it was a commemoration to Stan Lee, and the Marvel Studios kind of gave him a commemoration of like the cameos, and that's one thing. If you're a Stan Lee fan, yeah, they did him right here. They treated him with respect, some respect here, and not always Stan Lee got the respect and when he did these movies, and you know, people kind of just didn't even acknowledge him or whatever. But I think here they kind of acknowledged the contribution that he did, and with Marvel Comics and with the Marvel characters, and now in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So as you might have seen in the trailers, I don't know if you remember the trailers, but one of the trailers that when they were promoting the movie is it showed her in a train fighting a granny. But there's more to that scene. You'll see, look for Stan in that cameo scene right there. So that's the part to look for him, and he's gonna be holding a book up. That's what you read the book, and just pause the stream or pause the video and read the book he's reading. It's a nice little Easter egg, kind of like, and also it's also probably one of Stan Lee's best cameos in a movie. It wasn't even a cameo, it was like a full-fledged part in a movie. So Stan Lee actually has a full-fledged part in a movie, but this is before the MCU. This is in another famous kind of geek culture movie franchise, but if I tell you, it'll ruin it. So just look for that Easter egg, guys. Okay, so we're finally at the end. But yeah, I'd like to give you a thumbs up if you've gotten this far, because I know it's been a kind of like a hard review to go over. But yeah, as far as my verdict, I'll have to look down because I wrote down the score. This movie kind of forced my hand based on the media and the attention it got. I would have gave this movie a 6, but because of bad press, bad publicity, and just the how the story is constructed, and how still I'm kind of clueless on the character. Do I want to see another Captain Marvel movie? When I watch this, I'm like, no, I don't really care to see another Captain Marvel movie. I'm fine if they're done with this one. As far as that, I'll have to give it out of the 10 score. I'll give it my verdict is a 6, but I'm gonna deduct a half a point because of bad publicity and just bashing your audience. So my verdict is a 5.5 on this. That to me, that's an F. You know, if you're looking at a report card, yeah, can I recommend this movie to everybody? Well, I'll recommend it to girls, you know, who want to bash on men. I'll recommend it to them. But as for guys, I'm not going to recommend it with anybody with external plumbing. Please like and subscribe to Rob in Real Time. Leave comments and leave your feedback down below. Tell me what you think of what you thought of Captain Marvel. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know. And also, please go to my Service Gamer 76 account on YouTube, and also like and subscribe. There I'm going to do more gamer related topics if you like gamer related stuff. If you're not interested in that stuff, that's okay. One channel is fine. I'm happy to have your viewership at either one of my channels. But if you happen to like gamer stuff too, you might want to check out Service Gamer 76 also in conjunction with this. So from me to you, have a happy holidays. I hope you guys get what you want this Christmas, and have a happy new year. Hope things go well with you and your family, and best wishes, man. I wish you guys the best. Let's make hopefully the next new year is going to be a great year for all of us and everybody. See you next time. And Robin Real Time, thank you very much. Bye-bye.